Before this project, I only registered Armenia with two things: the Armenian genocide and the Kardashians. I believe that this is common because no one really pays attention to Armenia. It never made a large enough impact for us in the US to pay attention. But in Armenia, the police have repeatedly broken Article 5 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which basically means everyone has the right to not be tortured. Levon Gulian was a restaurant owner in Shengavit, a district in the capital of Yerevan, when he witnessed the murder of Stefan Verdanian on May 9, 2007. He and two of his members of staff, Hek Mokunian and Marin Gregorian, were invited to the Shengavit police station to testify. Mr. Gulian was invited around 3 to 4 a.m. on the morning of May 10th. In the official police statement, it is only recorded that Mr. Gulian arrived at 2:30 p.m. to meet with the head of the murder unit and the chief of the Department of the Criminal Investigation. His body was found around 3:15 p.m. with serious injuries all over his body, including his head. According to the police, Gulian allegedly committed suicide or died in an attempt to escape. Gulian's family believes that he was tortured because one of the other witnesses reported to also have been beaten. This case has become one of the most famous torture while in custody cases in Armenia. It was the tipping point for the Armenian people and their tolerance towards the police. At the moment, the Armenian people are aware of police brutality that takes place behind closed doors. People have a strong distrust towards the police when they should be viewed as their source of protection. We are talking about people fearing other people. I mean, that couldn't happen, but the police have guns and can easily get away with hurting or killing citizens. To solve police torture in Armenia would open new possibilities for citizens. They would no longer have to be afraid of an organization that is supposed to be one of their biggest protectors. Armenia, in general, is a relatively young country that gained sovereignty from Russia in 1990. The country has had tensions with its neighboring countries of Turkey and Azerbaijan since being founded. This can be mainly attributed to the Armenian genocide that took place during World War I. Armenia's torture laws have never been up to UN standards, and because of that, police have been known to torture witnesses if they believe that they are lying. The police generally benefit from such actions by receiving higher conviction ratings and solving cases at a faster pace. The citizens, however, are then left with a larger distrust towards the law and at constant risk of being hurt by these police officers. Armenia should pass laws banning the use of evidence obtained through torture in court, create a new federal police that can investigate into suspicious police activity, and make it required to have CCTV cameras in police stations, with the film being available to the public. By banning the use of evidence obtained through torture in the court of law, I believe that there will be less cases of torture by the police, as they would no longer be able to use anything the people say. By creating a federal police, the Armenian government would be able to look into reported cases more thoroughly, hopefully prevent more cases of torture. Finally, having CCTV cameras placed around police stations with film that is available to the public would leave less to the imagination and present people with evidence. These recommendations could be the tip of the iceberg to help people put their trust in the law again. I'm not saying that that it could completely solve what is happening, but this could play a very large role in ending police torture in Armenia. At the moment, it is almost a normal thing to hear that police officers tortured a suspect to obtain a confession to a crime the suspect could not have had anything to do with. There have been reports of not only physical abuse on the suspects, but also threats aimed at their families. I'm speaking for myself when I say this, but a threat on my family would make me a lot more likely to confess to something I did not do. Also, many of these complaints have been opened. While I will give Armenia credit for that, But you see, they never actually investigated into those reports thoroughly. The cases that they do close on reports of torture while in custody are mainly closed because it has been 5 to 7 years since the incident and they have no evidence. To apply a federal level police would, much like the FBI, to investigate thoroughly on these investigations, people would have a reason to trust the police again. If Armenia were to make it that every police precinct in the country were to have CCTV film open to the public, these cases would most likely have non-arguable evidence. One of the hardest parts of the cases is that there is no evidence other than some bruises. The defense could easily play bruises off for being actually related to a different aspect of the victim's life. If there were CCTV cameras in precincts, there would finally be evidence for all the victims of torture while in custody. These recommendations that I presented are reachable. They have been implemented all around the world, so I would find it hard to believe that Armenia would be unable to achieve the goal. The recommendation could significantly change Armenia's future by putting a leash on something that's been ignored for too long. It could lead to a path of trust between Armenian citizens and the police, and unify a country, to bring the people and the law enforcement together in a community which would ease the tensions, hopefully for good.